What's going on, Mo? Today we're going to be talking about investing as a musician and just getting into it as a beginner. Very, 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 very simple beginner style investing. Okay. So if you're interested in this, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I will be sharing pretty much a little bit of my experience with investing, and I'll show you guys, well, explain. I can't really show you, but I'll explain to you a little bit of my understanding about investing as a musician here in America. So, again, if you guys are interested, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and let's get into it. So, my journey with investing, I'm still like a novice when it comes to investing. So, this would be pretty much we'll say like a multi-part conversation. But when it comes to investing, I think the greatest part of the journey was understanding the vocabulary and understanding the language and seeing that it's really simple. It's more so kind of like how car guys have their own language, or gym bros, guys who work out a lot, they have their own language and things like that. It's just like that. And it just kind of moves you into a certain lifestyle, or is a part of the lifestyle you already have. And that's kind of one of the ways that someone explained it to me that made it click. They were like, investing in things that you already enjoy or are a part of your lifestyle makes investing kind of like smooth. Where if you're trying to invest in things, based on like current events or trying to keep up with things every single day, it's a little more stressful. It may work, but it's a little more stressful. So this is really for like the beginning musicians who may be in like college, maybe you're a student, or maybe you're older and just want to like figure out how to really invest in yourself as a musician. So one of the key things I had to really understand was the definition of investing, not to the T, but just a general understanding. And so investing is just simply putting in, let's say, $5 every day or something like that, or $10 or $100 or $300 every single day, and not touching the money, right? In hopes that you will have a lot of money saved up later. And there's another version of this where you would put money, let's say, in someone else's hands in hopes that they will use that money to give you even more money. That's like the simplest way I can explain that, right? And so when we think about ways that can be done, that can be investing in, let's say, your children. Your parents may have put money towards your schooling and things like that in hopes that when you go to school, you'll get good grades and then get like better opportunities. That's investing in your future, right? And then you have investing of like, let's say, your health and your fitness. Instead of buying chips and sodas today, you bought maybe a little more whole foods and you walked a little bit more today. That's investing in how you're going to feel and be tomorrow. So investing as a word isn't really a confusing word. It's a word that just you don't really think about often to really, you know, apply it. And so when we're thinking about money for musicians specifically, it kind of has to work very smoothly, but it also has to work in a way that makes sense. Like you don't want it to be, something you have to think about constantly, something that's gonna like stress you out or maybe make you worried. You want to have a really good, almost loving relationship with your finances and things like that. And so investing is one of those ways, especially today with the apps and technology. It's one of those ways that can be very, very simple, very, very easy. And for for me, it was very easy to get started. It was very difficult to master the habits. Like the people who make really, really good investing decisions or just financial decisions, they have good habits that help them do that. Whereas starting out as a young, I think I started investing in like my early 20s. It was difficult because you see the numbers and you're trying to learn it, and then of course you're trying to, you have cool ideas and you want to try stuff, and people giving you information and advice, you want to try stuff. So once you develop habits and systems and things like that, making decisions get a lot easier. And that's what happened with me. And so something like, let's say I wanted a new camera, like this one right here. Like I wanted a new one. Let's say I wanted to upgrade the one you're seeing me on right now. Let's say that costs $300, right? Investing for that camera could look like a bunch of different ways. I could either just put money away every day or over time to where I finally get enough to pay for the camera, and now I have it, right? Or I can find ways for other people to pay for that to where I can, let's say they invest in me to make this video and they sponsor this video. That can help me make money to finally upgrade my camera. So there's a lot of different ways, right? That can go with musical instruments, that can go with um, digital audio workstation software, that can go with hiring bandmates, studio time, branding, a lot of different business things you may need. You may need money for like infrastructure and things like that for your musicianship. So this is something that is kind of like stressful if you don't plan for it, if you don't have these things in order. And so this is what I meant by having apps and things like that available. So one of the apps that I use because I'm a beginner is Acorns. But there's ones like Fidelity and there's a bunch of others out there. You can look them up. But you got the really, really, really legit ones, and then you have the novice guys like Acorns and things like that. So there's levels to it. But the key thing is building up the habit. So where you may have income coming in, let's say you're making $3,000 a week or something like that, you can figure out how much of that income each week or each paycheck that you want to set aside for investments. So some people will pick, let's say, a percentage that may work for, them and their family. Some people may pick a percentage that may be very specific for, let's say, their business or a goal or something like that. So you got to kind of figure out what it is you're looking for. But for me, it was trying to figure out that sweet spot between gradually getting more and more money invested and still having enough money to be able to, pay bills and eat and walk around and be cool and stuff like that. So once you're understanding that that's how investing works, this is the part that I said was difficult. Now you have to develop the habits, and the habits usually for musicians are like, um, well, the habits that musicians usually need to worry about are paying bills consistently and on time, understanding you need to be punctual in terms of meeting a lot of the deadlines you need to meet. And then the last thing would be spontaneity. And that simply just means having a lot of like flighty ideals, being able to be committed and stick with your goal and not, waver and move. And so exploring these different things, you could see that a lot of musicians, when it comes to, let's say, buying equipment, a lot of musicians will take the loan, like they'll Klarna, Afterpay, they'll borrow it, or they'll get used goods and things like that. They'll try to find some kind of frugal or sometimes cheap route of getting things, but it's not necessarily the best option. It's not ideal. So I'll give you an example. This computer that I'm using to record with, I had to pretty much wait since my last computer to get this one. And in order to do that, I had to basically settle with like a little black laptop that I had to record with. And that laptop lasted me probably like 3, maybe 4 years before I got this new computer, which is a Mac Mini. Now, the reason it took so long was because there were other things that were being invested in, right? But this is where the commitment comes into play. This wouldn't have been a habit that I would have been able to master early on in my investment journey, but now that I have, it made a lot of sense and it was stress free. So basically, I had the black laptop and then I begun last year to start investing for this computer. So that laptop was basically just saving me money just because it was so cheap. But once I wanted to upgrade, I decided about a year ago to just kind of get a job and just let the taxes save up. And then once we had enough in taxes, we basically made a budget and plan to be able to fit it into the budget to get the new computer. Now, the reason this is really, really cool and works with Acorns is because that whole year we used Acorns to help develop the brokerage account. Now, the brokerage account, it was steady getting funded. We didn't touch it. Nothing moved or anything like that, right? And so that was again understanding that it should be that way. Like you should just moving money in there and just not touching it. And then when it was time for, let's say, taxes comes around, we can put a whole bunch of the money back into the brokerage account and use that tiny little 500 we needed. And we got a brand new computer, which now gives me the option to do way more things than my older laptop. I have like pretty much state of the art power right now. And I can make music, make these videos, talk to you guys, do phone calls. I can network, I can do business, I can do all of that stuff now at a higher and better level than I used to. So something simple like that, I wouldn't be able to understand starting out the journey. But I think if you do understand what I'm saying right now, this is going to help you a lot. If you don't, let me know in the comments. I'll try to find a different way to break it down so it's a little more, digestible. But essentially, in a tiny little nutshell, in a year, using a brokerage account on Acorns, I would use my income from, let's say, my regular 9 to 5 job and just put a percentage into the brokerage account, and it would just grow and grow and grow and grow. And then when I get my tax return, I can put most of that money away and then invest in myself, which could be, it could literally, doesn't have to be this computer. It could be bills, it could be whatever else. But for the example, it was a computer for this one time. And that allowed me to make better music, upgrade artwork, upgrade software, upgrade cameras and things like that, because now I can make better products and basically make business better. If you don't look at investing like that as a musician, it will pretty much always look like asking someone to invest in you. And what do I mean when I say that? That means that if you're a musician and you got to get lessons or you need to be great at your instrument, you're not really going to try to invest in yourself to get that or to get that result because you're not understanding the word investment. See, if you think investing is just financial and not habitual, you're going to miss it. And if you think it's just financial and not necessarily action, you're going to miss it. So let's say we'll use another example, investing in playing an instrument. Putting in time is an investment. So if every day you put in, let's say, an hour in your instrument, that's going to grow over time. Just like, let's say, putting in $10 in a brokerage account every single day. Though you may think 60 minutes isn't a lot of time compared to, let's say, the amount of time Michael Jackson spent practicing his instrument, it's still time put in and it still adds up. Now, here's the thing about the habit and the action part. You can make the decision to put more time in, just like you can make the decision to put more money in. You will just then have to sacrifice losing the time and losing the money because you decided to put more into your investment. A lot of people don't like that part. They want to be able to invest a lot of time into an instrument without it feeling stressful or feeling like they're losing that time. Or a lot of people would like to invest a lot of money and then get a lot of money back quickly. And that's not how it works. So even if you do put, let's say you play 8 hours a day on your instrument for a year straight, that doesn't necessarily equate to quick success. You may be really, really good at your instrument and know the hell out of it, but you still would have to apply a lot of the thinking needed for you to get success. So if you flip it over to finances, you can put like $1 million into your brokerage account and just max it out. I don't even know if that's possible, but you can throw $1 million in your brokerage account today. That doesn't mean you will get $2 million back tomorrow, next week, or even a year. So you still have to be very intentional about where you're directing that $1 million and what stocks you want to put it in, what portfolios. You got to really understand all of the language in order to get the full grasp of everything. But this is just so you can just understand the basics of it as a musician and how it can help you. So if you want more help with that, make sure you put it in the comments. I'll try and send you any links I have to give you any information, and I'll make another video like this too so we can have the conversation. But that's it for me today. We'll go over more topics. Maybe we'll go over taxes, and we'll go over what really goes into how a brokerage account could really help a musician and things like that. But we'll figure it out. I'll figure it out from your questions, and I also have plans to deliver more information for you guys. But that's it for me, you guys. I will see you tomorrow night. Peace.